What is up, everyone? My name is Pharaoh, and oh boy, it's finally here. The Battlefield 1 beta is open for all of us to get our dirty, plebby hands on it. I was going crazy not being able to play this game, and I still can't get enough of it. I'm going to be going over some of the infantry combat, plane combat, armored vehicle, and maybe some bugs and game modes. I'll be coming out with more in-depth vehicle and weapon reviews shortly after this video, so sit back, relax, and let's get into it. First off, we're going to be going over some infantry combat. Now, it took me a while at first to acclimate to the pace of this game. While fighting is still not as much of a twitchy shooter as Call of Duty is, I still feel like it's quicker than previous Battlefields. Now, some of you might be saying, what is he thinking? I'm spending most of my time running from point to point, and I'm lucky to find 5 people at the same time, and rush is just about the same. And that's totally right, but when you are in combat, at least from what I've experienced, your engagements seem to be much quicker and have less shots fired than older games did. For one, the bullet speed is significantly faster, and that eases the effects of bullet drop dramatically in this game. So your shots are going to be more accurate, faster, and have more stopping power. Rushing to points doesn't work as well because it only takes 2 to 3 shots to drop someone, and if someone's sitting inside a building while you're outside capping, that's not really going to turn out too well for you. Now, I found that I had to change my playstyle up a lot from the way I played Battlefield 3 and 4. In this game so far, I play like a gopher. I'm popping in and out of buildings rather than just running balls out. Buildings are far more valuable and safer in Battlefield 1, mainly due to the absence of handheld rockets in C4. Yes, we still have dynamite in the anti-tank rocket, but since armor is so dang strong in this game, no one's gonna really waste anti-tank armor weapons on infantry as much as they used to. As far as classes go and how strong they are, I would have to say the engineer and the medic are the best all around, but my favorite to play is the sniper for sure. Engineer has always, in my opinion, brought the most utility to the battlefield, and the anti-tank grenades are pretty good, and the guns they have are pretty good in a wide range of scenarios. The medics were a bit of a disappointment in my eyes. I thought their guns were alright, although sometimes it felt like I was shooting a BB gun, hitting someone 5 to 6 times before I could drop them, and I'd still die. And now DICE has even taken away the respawn ticket system. Medics don't hold as much strategic value as they once did. The support class has got to be the most unpopular class in Battlefield 1. In Battlefield 3, the supports had the role to take out the heavy armor, where in Battlefield 1, that has fallen to the engineer class. The only thing they can do now is resupply and shoot a lot of rounds, which is cool and all, but not as useful as it could be. When I first loaded into the first game, I thought the bullet drop was straight up busted. And not just for the recon class, but for all classes in that matter. And playing the recon class, I noticed I could aim at someone's head a couple hundred meters out and not have to compensate for bullet drop at all. For the recon's gadgets, I really did like the flare mechanic, as it was a useful and clever way to give the minimap some worth back, since gunshots don't put you on the minimap anymore. The K-bullets are a unique way to go anti-tank as a sniper class, but they're pretty last resort. You won't ever really be able to take a tank down unless it's on the brink of death already. Imagine being in the woods and a bear starts charging you. K-bullets are about as useful as punching the bear in the side while your friend shoots it with a magnum. You'll still hurt it, but only enough for it to turn around and start attacking you instead. Which leads me to armored vehicle gameplay. It's no secret that tanks absolutely dominate the game so far. With no mobile rocket launchers or sticky explosives, it makes it a hard time for infantry to try to dispose of these monsters. It doesn't help that there's only one plane that's really good at air-to-ground combat. I've played many games of Rush where I would just roll up in a heavy tank, park on the MCOM station, and melt the enemy infantry, with little changes in Conquest as well. Even the light tanks can be a pain to deal with, and if it has an experienced driver, they can be even harder to dispose of. That being said, while I was driving these tanks, I would have to say that the guns and the reload rates are actually pretty balanced. But as a foot soldier, the ability to take out these tanks is not very balanced. Maybe everyone hasn't adapted, and the meta for Battlefield 1 is going to be mainly engineer classes for every game with armored vehicles, or maybe DICE is going to work on a fix, like an anti-tank tar grenade that sticks onto the side, or a more powerful rifle grenade shots. Moving on to planes. Now, I have to say that plane combat has never felt more fun while fighting air to air. My favorite plane has got to be the fighter plane by a mile. Its maneuverability, speed, and dogfighting potentials makes it a beast in the air, and even a decent pilot will be able to stay up for at least half the round, if not the full round, without touching the ground at all. It does have dumbfire rockets that are semi-effective against ground targets, but they can be a little tricky to be accurate enough to have any major effect. The attack plane is the sweet spot between the other two aircraft. While it outmaneuvers a bomber, a normal fighter plane will be able to take it down even if you have a gunner. In particular, I enjoyed the bombs that you could drop for substantial damage against infantry and even armored vehicles if you could hit them. And for the flying tank that is known as the bomber plane, I don't know if I was against super good pilots all the time, but I seemed that the bomber plane was incredibly tanky, as well as having 2 machine gunners in the front and backside to keep other planes away. As a fighter plane, I couldn't sit behind one of these bad boys for more than a few seconds without having to repair right after it. The bomber plane is the only plane that I believe could actually have a meaningful impact on the ground throughout the entire game. Its front gunner and machine gun is insanely strong against light armor and even infantry. It is a massive and slow target, but like I said before, it can take a beating before becoming disabled. Other planes are more fun to use as the pilot, but the bomber is going to be the most effective. Moving on to game modes, there are a lot of complaints already about the changes DICE is trying to implement. For one, rush is still not fixed, at least on Sinai Desert, which, given the map's environment, may just be the nature of the map, and others might be more successful at balancing attack and defense. You can only tweak spawn locations and timers so much before it just comes down to straight up map design. And as for the choice to put in a timer and ticket system, I'm definitely confused on why they decided to go this way. I'd like to see DICE do away with the whole timer and just let the game be decided on tickets alone. And as for Conquest, well, Conquest is Conquest is Conquest. It's generally the same power struggle in all the Battlefield games, which many people have come to love that. But in this, it seems like whatever team has the better tank drivers seems to win. And it's a tough decision for DICE. Do they make anti-tank weapons stronger? Do they have less vehicles in total? Or do they go as far as shaving down the amount of people who can actually be inside these vehicles? Any move they make will upset some group, but something needs to be changed. My biggest gripe about Conquest was the decision to take away the respawn ticket penalties. They did this to promote point capturing instead of using Conquest as a massive scale team deathmatch, but most people are still going to go for the kills if they want to, instead of passively running around in a jeep or a light tank capping points. Well guys, those were my first impressions on the Battlefield 1 beta. I know it sounds like a bunch of negative things and how I was complaining about stuff, but I really enjoyed playing it and I only want to see it get better, so I'm throwing all my ideas out there. It's open to everyone right now for free, so go play it and see what you think. My name is Pharaoh, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.